I'm back. I'm glad to see that you're also back. For those who are here for the first time, hi, I'm Vivian, and welcome back to this series that I gave the name The Things I've Learned the Last Couple of Years. And more specifically, today we will be talking about data centers and fake food. And yes, I am making a whole video on those two topics alone because those topics is enough. It's enough. This is already a lot of information just with those two topics. But before we start, don't forget to like this video, share it with somebody, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you feel like it. Besides that, I got my notes and I got my coffee. I also got Jesus. So let's do this. Before we start, I would just like to apologize real quick because last week I forgot to put the links to the videos, other videos that are important for the series on the description box. I did put them there now, and I will put them there again in this video. Again, I'm sorry. And if I mention any other videos, past videos, I'll put them in there too, with the title and all of this. And again, like with last video, if you don't believe something I'm saying, if it's a little bit too out there for you, feel free to do your own research because again, I'm doing this all on my own, and if I would do the research for you, it would be a whole lot of work for me to do on my own. So, and we're all adults here, or at least grown enough, so feel free to do your own research about my topic. So let's start with the data centers, and in this topic we will also cover surveillance. Man, I don't know. Every day I wake up and I look over to America and I think to myself, it is getting crazier with every single day. And I do not know how you people are dealing with this because it's also crazy to see how little the elite cares about the common folk, like the normal people, because they're taking land and homes away from people to demolish all of it and build those data centers that are run by AI. Now, let's not forget the amount of water AI needs to function. And it's like they are alive. And I've done a video on AI. It's an older video. I'll put it on the description box below too. Look, I heard someone saying that for ChatGPT, for you to text hi or for it to text hi to you, it requires a bottle of water for it to function and read it correctly. So you cannot be surprised that homes close by to those data centers are low on water. It's not that they don't have water at all, but the water stream is incredibly weak, and which means you can absolutely forget flushing your toilet. You can forget cleaning your dishes properly because the water that comes out of it is also dirty. And it is, do you guys know how big those data centers actually are? I've looked into it. Now, the biggest data center that exists in the world is of course, in China, and it's 10.7 million square feet. The largest in America is 7.75 million square feet. But now, why are they building those data centers? What exactly are those are they good for? Well, the elites tell us, well, it's there to store your data. Okay, but what's wrong with the way that we store data today? I mean, it works just fine. There's no problem with that. Well, it's not safe as it would be with our data centers because we will make sure that nobody else has any kind of access to it besides you. Yeah, but I know how to store my data in such a way that nobody has access to it besides me. So, well, yeah, I understand, but you are not the only person in this world now, aren't you? Well, yeah, okay, I get that, but can I decide not to put my data in those data centers? No, it's gonna be mandatory for all humans, and now stop asking stupid questions because we're all doing this for our safety. So just accept our safety measures because it's for your own good. Sure, I bet they always and only have our best interests at heart. They always have why would we doubt that, okay? They always have and they always will have only our best interests at heart, right? Well, joke aside, let's analyze this whole thing a little more, okay? because there are some problems with how our data is stored today. Because are there a lot of scammers? Sure, there is, but there are ways to recognize scam and prevent scammers from getting your data. And why are those data centers so big? This is just the sheer amount of size. I mean, could it be that it has to do with the fact that digital AI is coming soon? Because the thing is that I haven't seen anybody consider yet. It's not just the data centers themselves, it's also the amount of data centers and their size. Because again, why are they so big and why are they building so many? Could it be that they want to store the data of the entire world in those data centers? Because again, there is the biggest one is in China, right? And we know how surveillance, or how much the Chinese government surveilled their people and how much they control the common folk. So it fits that they have a gigantic one, and I would not be surprised if this becomes a continental thing. Like, for example, America stores the data for North and South America, also as Africa, because Africa is a big country, but there's not a lot of water. And some European countries, or several European countries, will have a data center that will save the data of all of the European countries. And I could imagine Germany being one of those countries. And I will not be surprised if China and maybe some other Asian country would be storing the data of the Asian continent. And I will make a topic on Asian culture at some point during the series, especially the Japan, China, and the Korean culture, because I'm seeing an alarming pattern that I'm not seeing anyone talking about it, which is important that we would. But again, it would be fitting that, because if we talk about the Antichrist, right, he will have a one world government. And it's also fitting if every continent had its own data center to save the data of this own continent where he has access to, right? And because we've heard our politics talk very positively about the Chinese social credit score, right? I mean, especially here in Germany, I've heard politicians applaud China for their social credit score, and having people say that we need to take an example on the Chinese surveillance methods. And let's not forget that the leader of the European Union, not Europe, of the European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, she's talking about establishing the social credit score and connecting it with the digital ID. And isn't it interesting that Trump took some world leaders with him to talk to Xi Jinping, and after that America started building even more data centers? And England's king all of a sudden talked even more about digital ID and how we're going to modernize the people. It's going to be so good for everybody. And also, by the way, Europe all of a sudden is okay with China again, because they were all for the social credit score, but they were not a big fan of the Chinese Communist Party. And now all of a sudden they're buddies again. If you didn't know, Europe was really upset with China because he was supporting Russia instead of Ukraine, and now he's supporting Iran instead of Israel. So they really got really mad at this. So just for you to know. Well, at least for the most part, things are normal with China, I guess. I'm not sure, not really, but somehow yes. It's complicated. Now, when we talk about the surveillance, I actually did a very short video on the topic about surveillance, and I will let it play here in a second. But for those that are not aware of things that are happening right now, I'm gonna give you some examples before I put the short clip in. And an example is the kill switch, and also what happened with the Ring doorbell cameras. Let's start with the cameras, because this was the first thing that happened a couple of months ago. Okay, now this is something that goes more for the Americans, because we do have some people here in Germany that have the Ring doorbell camera, but it's a major thing in America, okay? Or here in Germany, but it's a major thing in America. So The founder of the Ring doorbell cameras, he made he implemented something that the cameras were able to do, and it is the fact that they would film whatever happens at your front door, and they didn't need your consent for it, which also makes sense then why they're having such databases, such big ones being built, because they need to save silly things like whatever, like the one person walking through or in front of your home or just passing by your home, you know. Now, they disguise this disturbing act by saying, oh, we're just establishing this to find lost pets, or to, if somebody break into your home, that we just have them on camera and all of this. Now, people got really upset. Now, I'm not sure if they took it back. I think they did, but I'm not quite sure anymore. But listen, just FYI, also here in Germany, we have enough AI-driven cameras following our faces, scanning our faces, and following us in every single step. Why would they need to put those cameras also in front of our doors? Could it be, just a thought, could it be that they just want to see how often you leave and come back, how long you're gone, and with whom or with what you come back at your home, like groceries or other things? Could it be that they just want to see every step you take in your life? Because if we think back to the pandemic, one of the safety measures was that you could not have visitors in your own home. And how fitting would it be if you have a Ring door camera and in another pandemic hits, and the safety measure comes again that you cannot have visitors outside or in your homes, and then you illegally invite somebody to your home, and the Ring doorbell cameras recorded without your permission, and then they call the police. Oh man, this is a lot. But the other example would be the kill switch. Now, if you don't know what the kill switch is, next year, every newer car, any car with a screen on it, right? Stuff like this, they will have to build an AI camera in that car, and that AI camera will always, the whole time that you're driving, it will scan your face, especially your eyes, to see what exactly you're doing. Now, they say that they want to enable, that they want to hinder people who are unable to drive or that are too tired to drive, to protect others who are on the road. So if AI deems you not qualified to drive in the moment, the car will not turn on at all, or in the middle of the street, it will just turn off. And if AI feels like you are drunk or under some kind of influence, they will not only just stop the car out of nowhere and just stay there, but they will also call the police to come get you. And those are two of several different surveillance techniques that I want to use on people. Now, begs the question, why though? What exactly is, because again, we know exactly that the government and the elites who they serve the devil. The devil is the ruler of the world. So this urge to control every step we take is an urge that the devil has, but why? And this is where I let my clip run.
You know, I've been wondering something for a couple of years now. Why does the devil have such an urge to control God's creation, like every single one of us? What's up with that? With all of the surveillance and all of this going on, like why though? Because if you look through human history, especially in the Bible, you will see that as long as a ruler, no matter how bad he is, okay, if they let the people do whatever they want, like indulge in their desires and all of those stuff, those people will do whatever it takes to keep this one in power, right? And this is what the Antichrist will do. At some point after he comes into power, the world will become a lawless place, right? So why does he want to control us so bad? And this morning when I was hearing of the kill switch in the cars, the Holy Spirit gave me 3 words, and this question was answered pretty quick. The 3 words were omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, right? Now, here are Now, people believe two of those things about the devil. They believe that he is omniscient and omnipotent, which means they believe that he is all-knowing. They believe that because the devil was one of the high-ranking angels in the sky, so he knows a lot, but he perverts this knowledge to deceive people and for his own gain. But he leaves enough truth in there for people to believe that he is all-knowing. And people believe that he is omniscient, omnipotent, that he can do anything. And here on earth, in the physical earth, it's true, he can do whatever he wants because he is the one that rules this place. Which means if you give your soul to the devil, the next day you are rich, you are famous, you have all of those things that you've always desired, because those are earthly things and he can do those things for you. So people already believe that he can do whatever he wants and that he knows everything. The only thing that's missing is omnipresent, that he is everywhere, that he sees everything. This is the only thing that's missing. And I've did a whole video about how AI is diabolical. This was one of my first videos in my YouTube channel. And in the kill switch, AI will deem you worthy of driving or not, if you're capable of driving or not. And if you're not, they will turn off your car and wait for police to come because you are not deemed to drive, right? So AI will look at you. And did you know that your Wi-Fi is also looking at you? They send some signals in your house and they can track you inside your own home. So the devil now is trying to make people believe that he is omnipresent, that he is everywhere, that he sees everything and everyone, okay? Because when the Antichrist comes, it will all be established, and then the Antichrist can say, yes, I am God. I am omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent.
Now let's move on to the topic of fake food, which also includes fast food and a specific kind of tick that we're going to talk about as well. And you might be asking, wait, isn't fast food and fake food the same thing? Yes, it is, but fast food is one category in the whole spectrum of fake food. Now, have you seen the videos of people taking healthy food, like, I don't know, vegetables, like some kind of vegetable, and they were trying to set it on fire, and it didn't even burn? Like a lettuce leaf, they put it on top of fire, and it did not even burn. And if they were moving around, like trying to stretch it and all of this, it would feel like rubber. And if you look in the ingredients, like of pre-made food, right, you will see a whole lot of chemicals and other very bad things for you. Now, the reason why the ice cream in America is not melting anymore, because it's not actual ice cream. It's a bunch of vegetable oils that cause cancer put together with chemicals and food colors and some other stuff to make it taste like ice cream. But there are other types of food that are fake. It's not just junk food. It's also things like sweet and processed food, but also pre-made food. You know, the frozen food that you can buy in stores. And I don't mean frozen pizza. I mean, this is also something I wouldn't suggest anybody eat. But I'm talking about like those pasta dishes, those Thai dishes that you can buy pre-made in the store, where you just put it in a microwave for a couple of minutes, and then you have a whole meal at your plate. Now, you don't know what kind of stuff that they're putting in there. You don't know how they prepare the food before putting them in the bag and freezing them. And it's ironic because those things are considered healthy, right? But it's ironic how the majority of people who consume those pre-made frozen foods on a regular basis, they are at least overweight, like at least. Because all of those foods, also the pre-made frozen foods, they contain a whole lot of fake hormones. That those hormones, they throw your natural hormones completely out of whack. I don't know how many people I heard saying, oh, I cannot lose weight. No matter how much I exercise or how well I eat, I cannot lose weight. First of all, how many people have I seen after the gym go to Starbucks to get coffee? And when I say coffee, I actually mean a bunch of whipped cream filled with sugar and artificial colors with maybe one drop of actual coffee. Now, I am not one to drink black coffee either, okay? But I drink like cappuccino, okay? Which is milk a little bit of sugar, and a shot of coffee, like a whole actual coffee shot, like an espresso shot. And what do you mean healthy food? Are you cooking your own meals, or are you heating food up that you bought in the store that was already pre-made for you? I love the singing, "You cannot outrun a healthy diet." And my cat is back. Give me a minute. You can exercise all you want. If what you do afterwards is go to a fast food restaurant or have a sweet treat like a Starbucks coffee, or you go home and then you defrost this pre-made food and then you warm it up in a microwave, you won't lose weight, because none of those things are healthy. You're actually exercising for no reason, for absolutely zero reason, because those packages, no matter what they say is in there or how healthy they say it is not. It's not the food in itself, it's what they put in the food and how they make the food. Even if you eat just a little bit of those foods, you will not lose any weight, even just a little bit, because then I'm not talking about the carbs, I'm talking about the fake hormones that will throw your normal hormones completely out of whack. Because a chaotic hormone, if you didn't know, is another reason for weight gain. The reason why the majority of women gain weight in their menopause is because their hormones are chaotic. It's also the reason why women after giving birth, they gain weight. And also the reason why our female bodies, why we blow up before, during, or after our periods, because our hormones are all over the place, which is also the reason why so many teenagers suffer from acne. Yes, unbalanced hormones also cause acne, which is the reason why some adults still suffer from acne, as well as overweight and obese people. And let's not, just FYI, if you did not hear of this complete nonsense, the Campbell's CEO that made this food in those containers, he got recorded saying that he would never eat himself or give this food, this canned food of Campbell, to his children, because it is, I quote, for poor people, and the chicken is 3D printed. And let's not forget the CEO of McDonald's trying his new burger and barely getting an actual bite out of its own burger. And honestly, when it comes to McDonald's, I suggest you don't go eat there ever again, because either the meat is also 3D printed or it's human meat. And I am not gonna go through this deep dive, through this rabbit hole again. If you want to know, go do your own research, because I went down this disturbing rabbit hole and I'm not doing it to myself again. And what I have learned is that most likely they are getting meat from recently deceased people. And isn't it ironic how people who created 3D meat, like Bill Gates, right? How they say, oh, there is no difference between actual meat and a 3D printed meat, right? Even people who work in restaurants or they serve meat for people, even they say, yeah, there's no difference. But yet, those exact same people would never eat it themselves or give it to their children. Could it be that it's all just a scam to have people still be unhealthy and still put more money in their pockets? It's just a question. Now, last topic is the Lone Star tick. Yes, it is important that we talk about this tick because this is a genetically mutated tick. And if you get bitten by this tick even once, you can say bye-bye to meat in general, because you will become allergic to meat, especially red meat, out of nowhere. And when I say genetically mutated, I mean that the government created this tick. It's also been proven that it has been proven that this tick was created in a government lab. And it seems like Lyme disease is also a disease created in a lab that was transmitted then to the ticks, and then the ticks transmitted it to people, because I don't remember what war that was, but the government decided to enable the enemy's troops by weaponizing a tick with Lyme disease, and then they set the tick free, or the ticks free, at the camp of the adversary, and then the ticks made them ill with Lyme disease. But of course, because they couldn't just catch the ticks back, they just spread. But this is again another rabbit hole that I suggest you look into. Now, the Lone Star tick behaves completely different from normal ticks. Okay, unlike normal ticks, this Lone Star tick can see. Normal ticks are blind. This tick is not blind, and they can't even jump. And people said that they move much more different than actual ticks. They seem to be smarter and faster. And until now, those ticks are only in America. But I would not be surprised the least bit if all of a sudden the whole world would be would have this tick showing up everywhere else. Because especially here in Europe, I'm sick and tired of hearing politicians say that we, and when they say we, they mean the common folk. Okay, they will eat their caviars and their Argentinian steaks and their ribeye steaks. They will eat all of those things, but we, all right, the common folk, we need to stop eating so much meat because we need to reduce our carbon emissions, right? Now, they've already talked about regulating meat here already once the social credit score is implemented, because if common folk should not be allowed to eat real meat, and if yes, they should only eat it once a week, which in the meat should be the size of a salami. And if they want more meat, they can either buy 3D printed meat, or they can just eat the vegan meat. Now, but why though? Okay, why? What is the purpose of all of this craziness? Why is this? Well, first of all, money. We said already in the last video that the government is taking away land from farmers. And when they take land from farmers, they also take the ability for people to raise livestock. Okay, so crops are becoming less and less, and so shall livestock become less and less. Why? Because then every food that we have comes from them. And I mean from meat to butter to milk to crops, fruits and vegetables, all of those stuff. It all comes from them. Why? Because then they can control what people eat and also how much we eat. And we say, and I've seen it so many times, the elites and the governments, as well as many scientists, are playing God. Okay? We said the devil is the ruler of this world, right? God is the one who provides for us. Everything here on earth he created for us to enjoy, right? And so that we can have abundance. So if this is the case, what is the logical next step of the devil? Take away the natural things that God gave us and replace it with the artificial things that he created. Because again, the devil cannot create anything. Okay, he's not that creative. He cannot create anything himself. Or he is actually very creative. He just doesn't have the ability to create because he's not God. But again, all he can do is take what exists and pervert it in his own image. So if God is our provider, God is the one that gives us everything that we need, right? So the devil needs to take his place. And believe me when I say that this specific plan is something that the devil has been working on for a very long time. And the plan is to make it illegal for us to provide for ourselves. A great example is Germany. If you want to hunt, if you want to farm, if you want to fish, you need a permit. If you don't have a permit, you're doing this illegally, and if you get caught, there are going to be some very serious consequences, and you will be surprised on how many countries are operating under the same rule. Now, I know in America that's not the case, okay? I have a friend in America, okay? I know a guy, we've been talking for years now, and I know the rules for a good part, and I know that it's not regulated. You can go fishing, you can go hunting, you can go farming, you can make your own garden, you have the freedom to do so, and nobody can do anything about it. But I've seen people already trying to regulate those things in America, And it always starts with your ability to defend yourself, right? The gun regulations. Not everybody should have a gun, because if a crazy person goes and buy a gun and then they go in the outside and they start shooting people randomly, yeah, okay, so we need to start regulating guns, right? And then it goes from regulating your ability to defend yourself to, oh, you cannot go hunting, you cannot go fishing, you cannot go farming if you don't have a certain permit. And why? Well, because of climate change, we need to also watch out for our carbon footprint, right? So we need to regulate which people can do what to protect nature, right? So all of those things, all of those measures, they make us dependent on a government or several institutions that are paid by the government, and they all therefore belong to the devil. And let's not forget the very famous sentence of Klaus Schwab: you will own nothing and be happy. Because this is how actually God intended for humans to do, or for how it is for us to be. Because again, He is our provider. Everything that we have is a gift from God. Nothing really belongs to us because it belongs to Him, because He created it. But because He loves us so much, He willingly gives us all of those things and give it to us in abundance. And we can read this in 2 Corinthians 9:8. God has the power to provide you with more than enough of every kind of grace. That way you will have everything you need, always and in everything, to provide more than enough for every kind of good work. But again, the devil cannot have this. He wants to be God, so he needs to manipulate us into believing that everything that we need comes from the government, and we don't need to look up to God. We don't need to pray to God. We need to look up to the government, or better saying, the Antichrist. Okay, already now is a government, but then one day it's going to be the Antichrist, and we need to pray to him so that we can have everything that we need. But unlike God, He will not give us what we need in abundance, because He hates us. He wants us to suffer. So when Klaus Schwab said, you will own nothing and be happy, he actually meant you will own nothing and you will pretend to be happy. Because if you complain that you're not happy, or how we handle things in your life, you will suffer the consequences the same way China does with their people. But why are they making our food so dangerous then? Why? Well, again, the devil hates us and he wants us to suffer. So if we look at studies, we will see that especially when children grow up eating junk food, eating all of those things, and then on top, they are glued to a screen almost 24/7, they grow up to be unhealthy and with a low IQ. And people like this, unhealthy and stupid, are easy to control and to manipulate. But we can see those effects already on adults. People who grew up playing outside, people who had a normal education, that didn't consume all that much junk food. They started eating junk food regularly and being glued to a screen regularly. And all of a sudden, their IQs and their health dropped drastically. And these days, all we see are children coming to the world glued to a screen while eating some kind of junk food. And when the parents made proper food is going to be pre-made food, frozen food, or baby food that you can buy in stores, also full of chemicals, artificial colors, artificial nutrients, as well as fake hormones, because the parents can't bother to cook an actual meal because they themselves are glued on a screen. So all of this is making our current generation dumber and unhealthy, and it's making sure that a future generation, or our young generation right now and the future young generation, are born unhealthy and stupid. Because then they are reliant on what their screens say, and they do whatever the screen tells them to do. And don't get me started on the topic of our youth asking AI simple questions because they cannot make their own decisions. Questions like, what shall I have for lunch today? Don't even get me started on the topic of the zombies that they have become. And I literally think that those zombie movies were inspired by the plans that the devil actually had or has in the future for us, because we can already see this zombie-like behavior in politics, especially from the liberals, so the leftist spectrum. It's like they're all yelling out of one big mouth over and over again, the same stuff, full of confidence that they know exactly what they're saying when they have no idea. And they cannot stand being proven wrong. And how often have we heard they physically attack people who either proved them wrong or just had another opinion, another point of view than themselves? So if you ask me, the plan here is what we already established in the last video. The population, as much as possible, and we will be raptured, okay? We will meet God, Jesus up in the sky or on the clouds, so we will also be gone from earth. So the few people that are left here, the majority of them are zombies. Zombies in the sense that the government controls their brain and their thoughts and all of that. And the few people left with their own mind, with common sense and all of that, they will be hunted down by the zombies. And I bet that if the Antichrist tells them to eat those people alive, they will eat those people alive. Especially if we talk about chips being implanted in people's brains. It's bad enough that people are consuming brain rot online, okay? Because that makes them stupid. And then they have a chip that regulates their feelings artificially. It can create emotions artificially, and it can implant false memories. And I am not kidding. This is not a conspiracy theory. People building those chips, brain chips, they have already said that they want to make chips that do exactly that. Regulate emotions, regulate your feelings, and implant good or misplaced, give you other memories. Now, of course, they say that they want to do all of this to combat mental illness and trauma, but come on, man. Come on, a good number of us, we know exactly that when they tell us, you need to buy this or you need to do this because it's for your own good, it actually means it's going to harm us, but it's going to be good for them. And when they say, oh, this is just for your safety, they actually mean, no, it's actually just for you to surveil you better and just control you in every single area of your life. Oh, people, there you go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share it, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. And besides that, God loves you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. I am so happy that our weather is getting better again. So I'm going to go enjoy it. And you guys enjoy the rest of your week or your weekend whenever you're watching this. And we'll see each other next time. Bye.